Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ike Sky, and welcome along to SimRacingOnline, the home of online motorsport. And tonight you join me with a bit of a difficult grid lineup for the second round of the FKR ACC GT3 Cup Cars League for SRO. I can see Van der Geest is in chat already. Good evening, John and Davide. I'm not even going to try and insult your surname, but thank you very much for dropping in on time. Unfortunately, we did have a 15-minute break in proceedings. I'm going to have to get through this very quickly, but our reverse grid, as I said last time out, is going to be the inverse of the first 12 cars that finished in the first round at Brands Hatch. So that means that leading the way will be the 42 car of Bill Grucock. Beside him will be Vartanen. Behind him will be Barley, Miazza, Mark Jones, Mutram, Johnson, Geimer. Andy Williams are lowly 9th at the moment, but that will soon change, I'm sure. Ruskus, Santini and Pintus is 12th to start, going down the rest of the order. Ollie Bateson, Bosga, Wenham, Hildebrandt, Milliken, Bruce, Aslan, Miettinen, Johansson, Rychek, Galuzzi, Kohlberg, Talviti, and Masak fill out the rest of the field. And with 3 seconds to go, we are running a short formation lap. And yes, this is the reverse grid. I am sitting half reversed and half straight, as you can probably tell by the difference in audio quality. It makes it quite hard to talk when you're half and half. But there is a gap in the field which very quickly gets filled into the dual formation. Very slow is what Grucock's doing here, but he does have a very tight line, so everybody has to fill out. I'm just going to go a little bit further down the field. Everybody's being nice and tidy. I really wish that I could zoom this camera out a bit more, that we get a green flag, and immediately Miazza's going 3 wide between Barley and Jones for third place. Hopefully it's going to be nice and tidy. So far, so good. The 72 gets back to the racing line, and we go 4 wide further down the field. I'm going to have to scroll back. Everybody is clean. You see beautiful British flag there. Turn 1 is a success. Turn 2 it seems to be okay at the moment. Turn 3, very clean as well. Fantastic driving, just a spat of dirt from the back of the field there. That's all fair. At the moment, though, Grucock defending really well from Miazza here, and is going to have the inside line for the left-hand drop at Clubhouse. But how long he can push off the attentions of the 72 is answered very quickly. And so second does fall Grucock, and now the cameras have no idea what to do. So we'll get off of the poor camera and go for the more traditional camera angles here. So up and running very quickly, and as if like that, we now have an awful lot of racing to sort out. As we look further down the field, Pintus has been demoted all the way to 12th. Williams has had a catastrophic start in the 22 car. Good number there. At the head of the field, Grucock, we know Bill's a good defensive driver. We've seen that from his previous races. He knows when to start that racing line altering to keep the cars behind. But how much pace does he have? We'll go slightly further down the field. Oh my goodness, it's just awful trying to pick out the attention. The 75 goes down the inside of the 11. Just gets a nose in there, forces the issue, and then gets a massive kick of oversteer. Did he manage to recover that? I'm not sure. It looks like he did. 35 there, or was that? No. 75 of Geimer, 6th drops down to what looks to be, good grief, where has he dropped down to? 19th, 18th. Bit of a risky push there, but again, these reverse grids are going to be very interesting throughout the entirety of this season, because that 12th place, which Bosca holds the golden seat to at the moment, is where drivers will want to be aiming for. Up towards the top now, the 35 tries to do what his teammate could not. Ruskus goes past nice and clean on the 11 of Bali, but outbrakes himself, and then we get a whole concertina effect and a three-way crash. Thankfully, the only three cars that were sort of involved there. But how is that Porsche looking? The 35, is it carrying damage? Can have a little bit, but maybe they'll get away with that. But suddenly Williams pushed himself all the way up to 7th position with Johnson in front by just keeping his nose clean. I'm sure that some of the drivers in the lower half of the top 12 were very, very interested in getting going soon and trying to get a gap out to the front runners. As up the inside goes Mutram. 42 goes wide, giving a little bit too much space actually, and that will be Vardanen and Mutram both through into turn 1. Fantastic opportunism from Vardanen there, and this is going to do his championship hopes no harm whatsoever. Series host Rob Milliken is all the way down in 22nd. Let's get some eyes on him for just a moment in a... Oh, I think he's been taking livery lessons from Meerkat there. Red, black and blue, sure, okay. He is having quite a bit of fun as... Oh, these gaps are impossible. There is absolutely nothing between any of these cars, and I think the only gaps that we've really seen through this entire field is due to people trying to get some clean air as the 12 tries to go around the outside through the S's up towards the double left-hander at the top of the circuit. He now has the inside. Can he get the brakes on? Yes, he can. Who's that in front? That's Johnson. Really overslowing the car through there. That was... Oh, wow. That was extraordinary. I can't believe Johnson managed to stay in front or just stay out of the way of all of the ensuing traffic. Now, here's a question. So, Rychek in the 85 back here, he started all the way down to, I think, 18th or 19th. Who was that that's just binned it off? That was the 17 or 12 Pintus. We'll see as they come across the line. Gave me a bit of time. Yep, Pintus drops back, gets on the grass on the outside, but now Andy Williams goes for the push up the inside. A very, very safe overtake there. But now side by side up through turn 2 and 3. And again, Pintus is trying to push through a gap that isn't always going to close. That's not very mature driving from the number 12 driver. Trying desperately to regain the ground that he lost, and I think he might be getting in his own head a little bit. Williams, meanwhile, seems to be able to put the passes on, but not able to pull away, as behind was there contact. It looks like there was contact between the 12 and the 35 there. Yep, as the 85 now gets up into, I would suggest, 9th position. Again, very opportunistic driving. That 12 car is battered already. Wow. What on earth was that? I really hope that didn't come through too loud in everybody's headphones there. That was very strange. Rychek with the 35 behind. What on earth happened to that 35 car? Because he was in front of those a minute ago. Yeah, that was awful. That was terrifying. 35. It looks like he's made a mistake at the top of the hill. Wow, that was close. And the 12 car again going wide. It looks like Pintus is trying to use all of the track and the slightest bit more. That wasn't my neighbourhood. That came through my headphones. That's the terrifying part. Johnson, this looks like the biggest battle at the moment. Miazza out in front, Mutram in second, Vartanen in third. Really, really good to see those guys. This is what having the reverse grids, that's really shaking me now. This is what having the reverse grids allows us to do, is see drivers who might not necessarily have the pace, but have the ability to overtake. As an overtake we see, no, that was a defense from Williams to Pintus. 22 and the 12. 12 really hard to, trying really hard to get to the front of the field, but there is a very gaudy 22 car in front that he has to make his way past first. And you have to question the pace of Johnson as well, as they close up over the top of the hill, and on the brakes the 22 goes up the inside. Is that the 12 going to try and go around the outside? That's a very, very brave maneuver. It's not going to work, but now the 22, having overslowed into the top of the hairpin, might have a bit more speed, a bit more traction coming back down the hill. Up the inside, he's going to try and go again. Nope, but it's not a safe pass. Very mature driving here from Williams. And now Johnson goes wide, and now the opportunity almost as wide goes Johnson across the grass, and the 12 sees his opportunity to get on past the 22 now. Space left, racing room given, and Johnson spins off to the inside. We're going to now see side by side with no draft at all. 22 and the 12. The 22 has a racing line, but the 12 will have the inside line for the braking zone. So if the 12 can just jam it up there on the inside, I don't think Williams is going to fight it. But the 12 gets in. Does he outbrake himself? It just gets it. Stop. Well played from Pintus there. But now the 22 has the easier job of attacking. And I do think that Williams relishes a good fight, as Jones looks like he's under pressure from Santini. 88 and 83, yep. So the Virtual Drivers Alliance cars are in the thick of it tonight, trying to look up the inside of Jones. It's not going to happen there. That is not a big enough braking zone to be able to make that work. The top of the field is absolutely fine. It is this little quartet here that we want to be keeping our eyes on for the time being. Remember too that Jones at the moment is in the pound seat for that pole position next time out, as we have seen from Mutram and Miazza being able to make that work. But side by side coming back down the hill. 83 and the 88 goes side by side still. The 83 is going to push the 88 to the outside, but now the 88 has the inside line for the heavy braking zone. But Jones outbrakes himself and gifts the position to the 83 car of Santini, sorry. To get the numbers right, it's the names that I have problems with. And now how much further can Santini go, as again in that draft, when they're behind a car, you kind of lose all of the air off the front of the car, and somehow that unsettles the rear in these cup cars. Really strange. I can't say I've ever run in the draft of a GT3 car, of a cup car, so any observations I make are purely based off this sim. And that is just about 13 minutes gone, and the 70 runs wide and gifts another position to Santini here. But that is... So now it's Bosca, who started the race in the pound seat, has managed to maintain that position, whether through choice or through pace. Seems to be lining himself up. We're approaching halfway through the race now. Oh, the 75 goes wide, and the 83 gets balked massively. Geimer sits in behind, and again, that is the position given. There's some very respectful and positive driving going on around here as Williams, Grucock and Ruskus battle it out. I don't mean to focus on the 22 car, but one, it's very hard to ignore. Two, Grucock's just getting out of the way. That's a shame. Understandable. There is a bit of a pace difference there, but it would be nice to see the man fight. Oh, there's another tap of oversteer. I don't think that was even to do with draft. That was purely... I was just trying to get the throttle down too early. As the 35 looking to go up the inside. 42, is he going to defend? I don't think so. That's not what we're seeing from Grewcock here, but he's still going to try and go around the outside. So a lot of racing room being given here by Grewcock, but he's not necessarily giving the spaces away. Oh, he's not making it too easy. And we look further down the field. There is... Oh, who's that that's just fallen behind? Oh, no, it's not. That was just the camera angle, I think. Wow. So, Talviti, absolute master in some other leagues that SRO are running. And it seems that he's not having a nice time of it tonight, unless he was late sign up. But Talviti is a very, very talented driver, but that just goes to show the depth and level of this field that he's currently running around in a lowly 17th. Ruskus not able to put too much pressure on Williams, it looks like. Either that or he's just measuring his moves, trying to keep the car in one piece so that he can make one big attack. Maybe into turn one. We've seen the 35 car make some very impressive moves into turn one. Williams looks like he's got a reasonable traction off of the corners. But this is the difference coming down into turn one. Not going to happen this time. There's a bit more patience there from Ruskus than we saw earlier in the race, I think. Maybe he's... Talviti always activates the AI. Now, are you trying to accuse that poor man of cheating? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I couldn't imagine. So, Williams not needing to defend at the moment, or so he feels. Ruskus is definitely in the area for an attack should he feel he needs to. It's just about the closest battle that we have at the moment by the looks of it. There is a bit of a trio behind. And Vartanen as well, just starting to... Is that rain? Ah, is that rain? I don't know if YouTube is going to mess with the compression, but that is rain that is coming down halfway through this race. This is something I don't know about these Cup cars, is how they respond to the rain. We're about to find out. I think that's the TLDR of this. Meanwhile, Miettinen looking to put some pressure on Vartanen here. Or so it looks anyway. Just getting under that 1 second marker. These guys are just starting to move together towards the end of the race. You get the feeling that Mutra maybe is running at his pace, whereas Vartanen and Miettinen are starting to try and push in. As I do believe that's the 35 has gotten past Williams. He has. We'll get an update of the split there very quickly because we can do this. We need to grab Ruskus. There we go. So Williams in front, coming into turn one. 35 goes a little bit wider. Oh, and a mistake, a rare mistake from Williams. Manages to control the car and only lose that one position, but that is a position lost and a very, very rare position for Andy Williams there. Meanwhile, slightly further down the field, we have the 75, 70 and 13 car, which is our camera car. As he tries to look up the inside, does Geimer. Not happening quite yet, but you get the feeling that Johnson is feeling the pressure here. There is some progress to be made by Geimer, and yet again, Flavio Bosca, a relatively lonely race at the moment, but has secured himself the pole for the next race. Just to make sure everyone's keeping track still of that ticker on the left-hand side. I don't need to keep on drawing your attention to it. You all know what's going on here. Mudram, meanwhile, has taken the lead. And where has Miazza gone? Miazza is all the way down in 5th. Now, what has happened there? I didn't see where he dropped it. Find Miazza. Oh, getting out onto either the marbles or he's struggling. It looks like he was doing just fine there. I wonder if he's pitted for wets or he is struggling in these conditions. 11 minutes to go and a yellow flag is out just briefly. Someone's running wide somewhere and has recovered, but suddenly our battle for what was second place. Here we go. This is your battle for the lead between Tim Mutram, Jan Vartnen and Henry Miettinen. I do believe I am pronouncing Jan's name wrong, unfortunately, but way, and now we get the really tricky conditions come out to play. Give me half a second. I've just got to get this camera shot and then get this camera shot. No, that one. Here we go. From your third position, the number 911 car in that bright green livery. The two cars being chased down ahead. And Henry has to think that maybe, possibly, if he can hold it all together, he's got a real shot here of taking the win. That's 10 minutes to go, and the 14 car is not getting the drive that he's hoping. The next corner's right-hander, he's going to have a look, but I don't think it's going to happen this time. No, it's going to have to be into one of the larger braking zones. But perhaps there's a setup coming for Miettinen here. Vartnen must be all over his mirrors here, trying to keep track of where that bright green Porsche is in his mirrors. But there's traffic up ahead as well, just to add more complication to the occasion. Very slow running. I don't know who that was that's running around. It may be the 77 car of Hildebrand. Whoa, as they come up to the top, we start to barrel down the hill now. Miettinen's still very, very confident to use all of the track and just a little bit more. Trying to get a view past the 14 car in front to see what's going on in front. And now the rain is starting to get a little bit heavier. You can see the blur across the screen. Still no wipers being used. As a beautiful drift from Vartnen in front. I love this view. I absolutely adore this view. And this is always the view that you want as a racing driver as well. There's no pressure from behind as we see the split about to come up for Pintus. 4.5 seconds, so Miettinen's got nothing in his rearview mirrors. All of his targets are ahead of him here. So, Mutram, things that Henry is going to be seeing right now. Tim missed the apex on that first corner. Maybe he's feeling the pressure. Maybe he's out-braking himself. Vartnen is not getting the drive off the corners that he wants to be getting. Can he capitalise that? Can he use the traction in the last corner as he has now finally put the wiper on? Can he use the traction out of the last corner to affect that pass into turn 1 under braking? He also has to remember as well that in these rainy conditions, sometimes where there's no rubber and where the track has been able to drain away the water, sometimes it's drier on the inside. Look, it's drier, it's got more grip outside of the traditional braking zone. He looks to the inside, but it's never going to happen through there. That would have to be a very brave braking manoeuvre to even get side by side. Jump up to the helicam, which is utterly pointless again. And barreling back down the hill, they come on the brakes each in turn. Way big slide there for the 911. Fantastic control, as we saw from Vartanen last time round. We've been so focused on that battle. What on earth is going on around the rest of the field? Guy McGrewcock and Johnson seem to be in relatively close proximity to each other. As the rain continues to fall, you have to think that these guys are all sticking it out. At the same time, oh, that's an abandoned car on the inside. That is not what you want. Hildebrandt, laps down, is struggling, unfortunately. But it's always good to see people at least trying. Getting to the end of the race is the first thing to pay attention to. The split times just went crazy for a second in the broadcasting tool, so I had to jump to the top because I thought Muttram had made a mistake. This is a peerless run by Muttram, by the way. A middle of the road runner as far as ACC is concerned in SRO anyway. But driving absolutely perfectly to keep the two cars behind him. Not pushing too hard and not pushing too fast. Just doing exactly what he has to do to keep those cars behind. As the 14 outbrakes himself now. So you have to wonder, as the headlights go on for the 122, I wonder if there is traffic ahead. Nope. Nope, that's purely for visibility. Either for himself or for us. If that's the case, thank you very much. It's most appreciated. But the gaps further down the field, Miat's under pressure or just overtaking Grewcock, it looks like. Unfortunately, but Wenham with Milliken down towards the lower end of the field. Just because they're all the way down there doesn't mean that the fighting is any less intense. Wenham seems to be missing all of his braking zones, getting rattled by Rob behind. Again, that livery man. Having run dazzle paint in the Porsches before in R-Factor 2, I know exactly how useful a livery can be in putting the other drivers off. Just keeping an eye. I am keeping an eye on the head of the field as the 73 outbrakes himself, and the 56 and the 49 both get through. So the weather is definitely getting to these guys here. Who it is not getting to is Muttram in the lead and Myrtinen as well in that green 911. Now really looking to put some pressure on the 14 car. With 4 minutes to go, can Myrtinen make that pass? Not this time. That's a lot of patience being shown there by Myrtinen. Not quite. There's not enough space there. You're always going to lose out under traction trying to get up the inside when you start coming back down the hill here. But there is about a quarter's Porsche width in between the two at the moment. The 14 goes for the defensive line. The 911 goes fully lit around the outside. Beautifully held, sir. That will give Vartanen a reprieve for the time being, but he runs wide, and that may have been the mistake that the 911 needs around the outside. They go side by side, and now the 911 is on the racing line, has a kink up the inside and had the outside line, so will have slightly more speed. 14 car, if he's clever, will pull in behind and try and get that position back, but the 911's all over the blocking already. Comes back to the racing line. The 14 goes for the brakes and can't quite get it done. I was fully anticipating some kind of contact there. That was heart in mouth stuff. I can't imagine how hard Vartanen must have been pushing on his brake pedal right then, just to try and get the car stopped. And that seems all she wrote for the time being. Now that Myrtinen's in front, 911 car has got 2 minutes and potentially 2 laps to catch and pass Muttram for the lead. Do we think he can do it? Oh, I put money on it. Miazza still running with Grukok behind, and Boschke still sat in that 12th place pound seat for the lead, for the pole next time out. And what else have we got going on? Bruce, no. No, split times are starting to go a little bit awry in the lower parts of the grid, unfortunately. Ruskus, no, it's just doing split times too, that's why. There we go. Williams under pressure from Santini. Unfortunately, the split times in the broadcasting tool gives me the split times to the next car behind. That isn't necessarily the car that is behind in position, purely on the track. So I have to be very careful in what I get excited about. It's really annoying. I like getting excited over cars doing stuff. And he looks to have Santini just about under control, who does also... can also the same be said of Mutram. The leading car coming through to lap cars, as you can hear from the lovely audio that ACC gives us. And you have to wonder, is Mutram going to try and extend? Way big sideways moment for the 911. There is not a lot of grip left on this track now. As, yep, Williams concedes to the 83, it looks like. That looked like a fairly simple pass. Down through the S's. It may be that Santini is faster. He's just not. Oh. 8/10 goes the gap between Miettinen and Mutram. But with 5 seconds left to go, this is going to be the last lap. And you have to wonder how much of that was done on purpose. White flag. Does it mean it's going to be this lap? Or is it going to be the next one? I think it's going to be it's going to be this one. So, a masterfully held lead by Tim Mutram as he comes across the line to finish in first position, followed very closely by Henri Miettinen. Vartanen will come home in third after a stout defence of his second position. Pintus will come home in fourth. Ruskus, a very, very, very brave drive to come home in fifth position. Santini and Williams just losing out on that sixth position in the last lap. Miazza will come home in 8th, Grukok 9th, Geimer, it will come all the way up the inside of the other two in 10th, Johnson will come home in 11th, and inheriting the pole for the next round of the championship is Flavio Bosca. Some excellent, excellent strategic driving from Bosca to secure that as well. Telviti will come home in 13th, Galuzzi in 14th, Johansson in 15th, Aslan in 16th, 17th will be Bateson. Bruce will come home in 19th, Wenham in 19th, yep. Milliken will be 20th, Rychek in 21st, and Hildebrandt will come home in 22nd. Wow! As the drivers are still coming across the line. Bit of a disappointing run for Wenham as Milliken runs wide. I don't think you need to pick up any rubber deposits there, mate. That's not how the regulations work in this particular series. Joel Rychek comes around the last corner. Wiper going. I'm sure that car has a story and a half to tell, as Hildebrandt will come across the line now. A valiant effort from a driver who is clearly struggling with these conditions and perhaps these cars. Absolutely fantastic show from all of the drivers. Sorry, just haven't looked to see if anybody did decide to come and say hi to me. If any of the drivers are... There's all the wipers stop as well. If any of the drivers are watching this back, feel free to go and get signed up on the SRO Discord server at simracingonline.co.uk/Discord. And in there, once you get all your permissions set up, you'll find a comms and interviews category in which I am currently sat waiting to hear all of your stories from these 30-minute sprint races and any race that I commentate. It's always fantastic to see. So, without further ado, thank you very much all for watching. I do hope that everyone has a lovely evening, morning or day wherever you are in the world. My name has been Sky. You have been watching the SRO FKR Porsche GT3 Cup Series hosted by SimRacingOnline. I hope you all have a lovely evening, and I will see you next time.